what I've been expressing about was the importance to keep the vow. The vow and the commitment is very, very important, because if you don't have a commitment, even though we are a pretty good person, we are a pretty good person in the sense of moralities, etc., For example, you may not be you're not really taking you're not that fond of meat, you're not that fond of scolding at the people, you're not that fond of talking and gossiping, and also you're not very fond of committing any kind of misbehaving thing. So you are, overall, I think you are quite a good person anyway, basically. But that is not good enough. As a Buddhist follower, you must have a vow. That was the topic that I was talking to the Ladakhis and local Bhutanese and all these the visitors. I was talking about this, how important to have a vow. That's very important. And the vow, there's, in a very much like a nutshell, you have only two things that you have to think about. You have to be very cautious about. One is not to harm anybody. That is the first thing. And then the second thing is, you have to try to help. Try to help everybody. So these two. So that the first thing was not to harm anybody. That is a commitment for the Hinayana practice. I mean, I think you guys have heard this many times anyway. So that was the commitment for the Hinayana practice, and the other one, helping, supporting and helping people, helping others, not only people but helping others, is the principal practice of the Mahayana tradition, bodhicitta practice. So these two are very much the key point. This is what I was expressing, I was talking about. So that is very, very important. Once you guys are over here, and you guys claiming yourself as a Buddhist, you guys understanding yourself as a practitioner of the Buddhist. So if you are really practicing the Buddhist actually is not a tradition, is not a culture, is not a religion. It is something about the understanding, the philosophy. So this is the reason why we are always need to really understand what's all about. You cannot just say, oh, we are Buddhist, so we are doing something, then that's it. You just do it. But the real understanding, the basic noble understanding is, what is the suffer? The suffering. That is very important. Because in order not to harm anybody, first you have to know how the harmfulnesses, how does it work? What is really the suffering? So that is what the first noble of the four noble truth. The first one is the suffering. You have to understand about the suffering. That is the truth. So Buddha Shakyamuni has given also explanation of what is the suffering and how did it happen? How does that happen? So that is very, very important topic for us to understand. What is the suffering? So suffering, there are many different types of suffering anyway. And but basically the suffering is the part of the suffering is caused by others. I can cause you type of suffering. I can cause you suffering. But that is a part of suffering. And then the main suffering, the main body, main core of the suffering is definitely caused by yourself. Your misunderstanding, your kind of misbehavior, and your negative karma that you have created by yourself. So there is a kind of a two type of suffering, if I may say. So the part of suffering that can be caused by a person like me, for you. So me as a practitioner, I should not be committing that. I should not be causing you anymore the suffering. So me as a practitioner, I should really have a vow not to do that part. But you will be suffering the part of your suffering that you have created by yourself. What can I do? I can't do anything. You have to suffer that. There's no way to get out of it for the time being, unfortunately. But the part of the suffering that I may be causing you, that I have to stop. That I have to tell myself and commit, as a commitment of my practice, I should stop that. That is the vow. That is promise. And that has to be really strongly established. That itself is we call it vow. We call it commitment. That can be, that commitment can be like gone up to like a commitment of the Vajrayana, commitment of the bhikshu, bhikshunis, etc., etc. There are many, many commitments. But actual fact, you have to commit yourself not to harm anybody. But when you speak about the harming anybody, not harming anybody or whatever, harmful deeds, you have to know what are the deeds or what are the sort of things that you can do and cause the suffering for the people, for the beings. That you have to understand. So as I said right now, you have a two things. One is that the principal thing. The first principal thing is that you will be having your own cause and your own sort of creation. So that's something that we cannot do. I cannot do anything, for example. You have to take care of that. But the part of your suffering that caused by me, my wrong deeds. For example, I can scold at you. I can kill you. I can beat you up. I can cheat you, and I can, I don't know, whatever, I can lie you. And that's also one of the things I said, I can even go between you and your wife, or go between you and your husband. And I take your wife away. I take your husband away. And that means I'm cheating one of you, or the both of you. So that I can do that. So these kind of commitment, we call it wrong deeds or whatever, negative deeds. So these are the things that I may be able to do that. And me as a practitioner, I have to stop doing this. And not only that, you can sometimes say that, oh, I have never done that. I have no mind and no motivation at all to do this. So why should I be taking vows? Why should I be saying I'm not going to do that? I don't have to say that, because I will never do it. I will never steal somebody's wife. I will never steal somebody's husband. I will never do these things. So why should I be taking vows? Why should I be taking the commitment? Nothing. No. As a practitioner of the Buddhist tradition, or Buddhist the Vajrayana or the Vajrayana or the Mahayana or the Hinayana, you must take a vow. The vow is needed. That is the reason why maybe when many of you have heard, I was talking about the dishes, Italian dishes, Chinese dishes, and all these things. That's the reason. For example, I was just telling them just a while ago, if you have a very nice dishes, Italian dishes, Japanese dishes, Chinese dishes, and all these things, you must provide a good plate, a good place to place on. The dishes needs to be very clean and very decorative and very nice, so that people will enjoy. And you can sell it, and you can make money out of it, or you can have it, you can enjoy it. But if you don't have a dishes to put on, and the dishes, the foods, the delicious food and delicious little types of dishes, but then it is put on the middle of the road. Not to do, not to involve in negative activities, negative deeds, any kind of negative deed. But when we talk about negative deeds, what is negative deeds? That's the question again. What is the negative deeds? You may be saying that is negative deeds, but I may be looking at this. This is not a negative deed. This is a pretty good deeds, positive deeds. So there's an argument. But instead of arguing it, one has to understand the truth of negativities, truth of harmful activities. Harmful activities is the negative. Anything that is harmful to anybody, that is negative. Anything that is harmful. And that can be harmful not only just a temporary harmful, but for the long term. And not only just for long term, but temporary. Both we have to be considerate. We have to really be cautious about. So therefore, harmful deeds is considered to be negative deeds. Harmful deeds. Anything. Yeah? So therefore, for example, drinking alcohol is not good. We always say that. And why? Why is it not good? Why is it negative? It's a drink. It's a lovely drink. It's nothing. It's expensive, yes, but nothing wrong. It's a drink, But you have to look at it in kind of a what you call the consequences. The consequences of the drinking will kill you, and not only that, it will cause the problems in the society, in the family. It'll cause the problem in your family. You will be drinking and scolding at your wife. You will be drinking and scolding at your husband, your children. And you will be drinking and you will not do anything. You'll sleep. And you will not do anything. So that sort of things. So drinking causes a lot of problems, a lot of trouble. So therefore drinking is considered as a negative deed. Because it harms. It harms your family. It harms your neighbor. It harms your parents. It harms your children. It harms yourself. Your liver will be burned. So that is the reason why drinking considered as a negative deed. And same thing with eating meat, non-veg. So if you eat meat, also it is very harmful directly to the animal that you are going to be slaughtered, that you slaughtered, or somebody slaughtered for you. That animal, it caused such a how do you say, tragedy. It's such a tragedy for that animal. I mean, that you can understand. That animal wasn't dying easily and enjoyably. That animal was killed, tortured, and that animal really had such a hard time for you. And you eat. So you are the consumer. So therefore, as long as there is a consumer, that there should be a businessman. There should be a business people who's providing this for you. So then this animal lost its life for you. So you caused this tragedy to that poor animal. So that is very negative deed. So eating meat is considered to be very negative deed. That is the reason why you have to be vegetarian. That was the reason why you have to, because you are causing negative deeds. You are doing negative. You are committing the negative deeds and causing harm to somebody else. Not only just a harm, tragedy, scandal. It is really like a extravagant harm. Actually, it's a very, very, very harmful, It's just unbelievable. Because that animal was big time tortured. So therefore, we as a practitioner, we have to be vegetarian for that reason. Obviously, scientifically speaking, also they say that if you eat meat, you are eating the emotions of that person, that animal. So therefore you are turning, sooner or later, you are turning yourself into that animal, into that being. Maybe not figure-wise, the physical figure-wise, but mentally, you are going to be that, like a photocopy or Xerox of that person, that being. Therefore, scientifically they say that whatever, or what kind of, any kind of animal that if you have to kill and torture them with what do you call that? Yeah, with how do you say, dramatic and harmful. The dramatic and for example, like animals when you kill, that animal is crying. Many animals, they cries. Many animals, they scream. Pig is the worst thing. They scream like nobody's business. And they scream for their life, actually. They're asking for help like nobody's business. They're asking for help. Who is there to help them? No one. So it is not only just a torturing, but hopeless. So it is very, very, very emotional for that pig. Very emotional. And that pig is going to be dying with full of emotion. It's like the top notch of the emotion. They will reach to that level, the highest emotional level of wherever they can go in their life. The biggest, the anger, the anxious, the scared, the fear, the hope. It's just unbelievable. So with that kind of emotion, then the poor pig is dying. And that will be, scientifically speaking, I'm not a scientist, so I don't know. But they say, not only just a few scientists, but all the master of the scientists, they all found out. I have read in a very good books, many of the good books, they say. So that the emotion, all the emotions, the energy of the emotions, anger, hope, fear, all these restless and all these terrible things, goes into the blood, into the system, into the meat and everywhere. So when this pig, the meat of that pig, the pork comes into this shop and decorates very nicely and sell it, and people will be enjoying, like happily they buy that and eat. What is really happening is that when you eat it, you are becoming, how do you say? You're becoming very, very emotional. Like the emotions that poor pig went through when he was slaughtered. So that system or energy or whatever is very much, synchronized and went deep down into the meat and the blood. So whenever we eat that, we will be having, when we will be having, slowly by slowly, we will be very emotional. We'll be very scared. We will be very tensed. And we will be having a lot of stress without any big reason. We will be always stressed. We will be always afraid, scared. Very scared to sleep alone. Very scared if somewhere, if you hear some kind of a noise, tick, something like that, it will be so afraid. No reason you will be jumping. No reason. Because that pig was tortured like nobody's business. That is the reason that poor pig was died with that sort of emotion, highest level of the emotion. Fear and stress and anger and all these. Therefore, whoever eats that meat, that person bound to be like that moment of the slaughter. Definitely, it's bound to be. Because of the meat that carries the emotional state of the mind of that poor pig. So therefore, we all, even though we wanted to be relaxed, we want to be enjoying, we want to relax and, we want to be having as a Buddhist, then we want to meditate and we want to be nice, and we want to have a good time. But we'll never be able to succeed because of the meat. So therefore, if it is possible, the best thing is, of course, you have to be purely vegetarian. But if not, then you have to find the meat that it was not slaughtered. Those old days when I was very small, we used to eat those animals. I was also non-veg, of course, for many years, till teenager. I don't know, maybe till 17 or 19. I was very heavy meat eater, not only just eating meat, but I was very heavy, one of the heaviest meat eater, I think. So I can't have breakfast without sausage. I cannot. The whole breakfast is no use without sausage. I have to have a sausage, not only just one sausage, 2, 3 sausages always need to be there. I cannot survive. And also the lunch is momo, meat momo. Not only just a few pieces of meat momo, 80 pieces of meat momo, you know. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. It is true. That's the reason I had a liver cancer. And I had a big problem, you know. I had a liver cancer. I had a liver, whatever that is, hepatitis, not only hepatitis B, but I had a hepatitis C, but now gone because of the medicine, Tibetan medicine, you know. So we have a pretty good medicine system. So anyway, I'm having this. I had a liver problem and all these problems. Why? Because of my wrong deeds, my negative deeds. You know. I don't know why, but I was having this. I was enjoying big time, and I was not knowing what is happening back there, in the slaughter yard, with the animals. I have never. It's totally ignorant. You know. I was very ignorant. So I was having momo in the lunchtime, and I was having the beef sausages in the nighttime. So you know, I can't have dishes that it's a vegetarian. I don't know. I was like that. But then I saw an animal that is going to be slaughtered, and I was also looking at them and crying, and I I said, okay, enough is enough. So then I think when I was 17 years old, then I stopped. Anyway, that's not the point that I'm talking about. But here, what I'm trying to say is that, you know, we were then when I was young, there are some yogis, medical reasons, they have to have a little bit of meat. But they are always looking for those meat that has come from the animal which was not slaughtered. They are dead. They are died because of casualty. And we will find many animals. So they are less effective in terms of making you emotional, making you negative, into negative. So this is also something that we can consider if you cannot really be pure vegetarian. But obviously, very much recommendable very much recommendable to be vegetarian straight away. It's not a not a very difficult thing to do anyway. So, for example, I become a vegetarian just within a second. I just become a vegetarian. Until now, my health is getting better. Everything is getting better. So it's like that. So anyway, what I'm saying is that deeds has to be the promised. You have to have a promise, a sense of promise not to do that. Sense of promise not to eat meat, for example. Oh, some people often say that I'm not eating meat. I'm not fond of eating meat anyway. Do you have a promise? Do you have a vow or not? No. I didn't take any vow. I didn't have any sort of sense of commitment or anything. I'm ready to eat anyway. That actually means I'm ready to eat meat whenever it is needed to be. I'm ready. I'm prepared. So this is actually, it's actually is a naughtiness, It's not very nice, So you have to have a promise, so that then that will be like then the Dharma practice. That will be the real spiritual practice. That will have a full support to your spiritual growth or spiritual strength. It will be fully supported. So that is the reason why it has to be supported by your vow. Every deed needs to be supported by your vow. The vow doesn't mean that you have to be a monk. Vow doesn't mean that you have to be a nun. Or a vow doesn't mean that you have to be a semi-nun or semi-monks. No, you don't need to. You just can be as a lay. You can be continuously doing whatever you are doing it in the family affairs, in the lay affairs, in the business affairs, whatever you are doing it. You just can do it continuously. But yet you can have a vow. The vow is a beautiful thing that successively you will be able to turn yourself into a good person. Successively. Successfully. Very successful. It may take a little bit of time, or it may not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But despite of taking time or not, it really is going to be every day, whatever you do with vow, that'll be bonus. That'll be credit. But anything that you do without vow, it may not have a credit. It may not have anything. It is like what I said. Lovely dishes you have, but you have just put on the street, middle of the dust, so that the dishes are not used. It's very much polluted or contaminated, so it's not going to be used. So similarly, that the beautiful act you must be having. You will be practicing generosity, you will be giving away a lot of money to charities. You will be giving away a lot of money to those poor people, to those hospitals and all these things, and you will be you'll be offering a lot of butter lamps, and you'll be doing prostrations. You'll be doing kora, like a circumambulance, the 100 times or 13 times circumambulation around the Swayambhus and all these things. We always do that. But that sort of things, yes, you may be doing very nice, but you have no promise. So you have to have a promise that I may be doing this. Whenever I come to Nepal, I will do 13 koras in the Swayambhu. Vow. I take vow. So you took vow, so now you do it. You do the 13 koras. It will be fully developed in terms of strength of the spiritual. That really that will make you successfully develop, successfully confirm, firm. So that is very important. The vow is a very, very important. So that's not only just a kora, but many of my students are vegetarian. Very good. I appreciate it, and I'm very, very proud of myself also to be able to sort of indirectly make all of you vegetarian. I am very proud of myself. But at the same time, I was also wondering and also wishing that if you can, take the vow not to take meat. Maybe not really for whole life. Maybe you can take it for 3-4 years, or maybe 10 years. You can do it like that also. It doesn't matter. But as long as you have a vow, your strength of the spiritual development will definitely be high up there and successfully achieved. And that will be fully used, because it really is, the support is there entirely. The length doesn't matter. You can have it for length of the death, like a whole life, or you can have it 10 years, or you can have it 7 years, you can have it 1 year, you can have it even 1 week. Doesn't matter. Bhikshus are also like that, In the Thai, I don't know in other country, but Thailand, the monks, they do 1 month monk, they do 7 months monk, and they do like a 10 years monk. And then they disrobe. And then they go back to the family and they do business. Most of the Thai people, they all become monk once, I think. So that they can do that. They can take that vow like a periodical, very periodical. So it's just a short period they take. So it's a similar kind of thing. We can also vow ourselves something like that. Not necessarily for whole life. And not only just for vegetarian, but also like not to drink any intoxicant drink, like alcohol drink. Oh no, I'm not going to drink. For example, there are many people who are not drinking, but then you don't have a vow. So sometimes that is very much like I wouldn't say wasted, but it is going to be like exactly what I said. The very beautiful dishes that you're putting into the middle of the street. So and you are hoping that somebody will enjoy. I don't know, anybody will enjoy, because maybe the dogs will enjoy. Some animals will come, but human beings cannot. So that is the thing. So you have to have a vow to give yourself support. So therefore, it needs to be. You have to understand the 10 deeds. The first 3 deeds that is connected with the body, and the 4 deeds that is connected with the speech, and then the third 3 deeds that is connected with the mind. So these 10 deeds, that needs to be transformed into a better deeds, like good deeds, positive deeds, and the avoid doing the negative deeds, negative 10 deeds. So that's the thing. So avoid negative 10 deeds, negative 10 deeds. The Buddha said it's a negative 10 deeds, but negative and positive. Once again, let me repeat again. What is the negativity we are talking right now? Negativity, what we are really talking about is to harm anybody, to harm others. That is the negative. In nutshell, that is the negative. It's anything that is harmful for others and harmful for you. Maybe, both. Maybe, whatever. Anything that is harmful for others is not good, is considered to be negative. Anything that is helpful, helpful and supportive, it's good. That is considered to be positive. Even though it appears to be a negative, but it is positive. It is very much positive. Sometimes it can appears as a negative, but it's very much positive because it is very much helpful. For example, injection. Injection is a injection. The needle is looks very negative. It's a pokey, and when I don't like when doctor comes with the injection. I don't like it. I don't like even to look at the injection. I'm always looking to a roof and talking with some friends. I know that she's coming with a needle. So, needle is something I don't like it. I can't just say, she's coming with a needle. Oh, choop. I don't like it. So I will turn my face the other way. And I'm talking, pretend that I don't know, I don't see. But of course I know. So this is a negative. The needle is a very negative to look at it, and also it's a very negative when it comes, ouch, it's a very painful. But whatever the consequences of that needle putting in makes some positive. It'll help me, my fever going down, or I don't know, whatever. It'll help me. So that means it appears to be negative, but it is positive because it helps me. That is the thing. Whatever it helps to others, that is considered to be positive. Whatever it harms for anybody or any others, that is considered to be negative. So that is very important. You have to understand. So people think, like people who are meat eaters, they're very fond of meat eating, then they say, oh yeah, you have to eat. That is they have to, anyway the meat is in the market, available. So you eat it or not, doesn't matter, the meat is there. That is bullshitting, It's a very sort of like a sarcastic, I would say. I think it is not a good point. If we all start not to eat meat, it will be, we all means like I don't know how many millions or billions of people in the world. If we all human being, all the human beings starts not to having any meat, the climate change and the global warming and all these big problems, the 85% of this global warming and climate change will be solved automatically. So it's a very good practice for the environmental issue also. Very, very important. Environmentally also it is very, very important not to be eating meat. Very important. And that actually means how many people, how many beings are saved, is going to be saved. How many people or how many beings will be enjoying living in this world without any tragedies, almost any. So therefore we all have to understand what is the kind of circumstances or kind of consequences what we are really trying and we are really creating. We are creating something very negative environment, very dangerous environment because of our deeds, because of our negative deeds, harmful deeds. That is the harmful deeds. So therefore we all have to understand and how we all have to be appreciating what the Lord Buddha said. Many, many thousand years ago, let's say 2,000 years ago, the Buddha Shakyamuni said it, and then many people practice it, but most of the people, they don't listen. They didn't manage to put themselves into practices of a vegetarian, to be vegetarian, to be toxicant drinker, and that sort of things. So therefore, now the world is getting sort of more dangerous. The weather is more dangerous, and so a lot of problems, I mean, anyway, I don't have to say that, but most of the problems are caused by ourselves. Natural disasters, natural disasters are there, but the natural disasters are not natural disasters. It is man-made disasters. We made it. So we, as a practitioner, at least handful of people of a practitioner, we should really be practicing according to the Buddhist tradition. We have to be cautious about harmful activities. We have to be proud about our helpful deeds. So therefore it is like a loving deeds, kind deeds and all these things to help, to the generosities and all these things. So the practice of generosity is now the first thing I told to the Ladakhis. The generosity, the practice of generosity is the one. Buddha Shakyamuni said, one of the most important practice is the generosity. And then the second most important is to save people's life, save animals' life, all the lives of other beings. That is these two are the main practice. The Buddha said in a very big sutra, so-called Serut, the golden golden light. The golden light, the sutra, golden light sutra. He said it very clearly. If one needs to live happily, live successfully, live long life, what you have to do is, first, save others' life. Second, practice generosity. That's all. These two are the things that you have to do it. So we as a practitioner, we need to follow that sort of things. And not only just to follow blindly, but you have to understand why is it so that the Buddha Shakyamuni said that way. Because if you give a life to others, in other words, if you save lives of others, what you have as a result, there's a cause and effect, as a cause and effect, you will have a long life, no doubt about it. If you want. But even if you don't want a long life, but you want definitely have a happy life. And the happy life will also be gained there because you are saving others. That's the happiest thing that it's ever can be happened with that animal, with that being. That's the happiest thing that they can even think about, to save their life. Just imagine, just simply imagine. Happiest thing. So you are giving this person, this being, the happiest moment to this being. So as a result, you are bound to have a happiest life. That is the result. That is a circle of what you call that law of the nature. So therefore you have to do that. That is very much not only just Buddha Shakyamuni said so, but we as a human being also, we should really use your intelligence, your own knowledge, that how it works. It works that way. You're giving the good, the best life to him or to her or to this animal. So as a result, because he's the happiest, he become a happiest person. She become a happiest person. This dog become a happiest dog, and this sheep is is a happiest moment that for that sheep and for that fish and for that bird and all these things, because you didn't let that person to kill that. So as a result, there's no doubt about it. The result will be the happiest life for yourself. And also the generosity comes that way, same thing. You are practicing generosity. That is like a big, the biggest way of practicing Buddhist tradition. Many people ask monastery to pray for their long life, for their successful business. And many people, they're requesting me also to pray for their whatever, this thing, that thing. Yes, that's also one thing that you can do. But the most essential thing, what you can do is, you should do these two things. Save lives of others. And then the second thing is, practice generosity. That's all. And how big you can be generous about is fully depends on you. How rich you are, how do you say, how generous you are. That is fully depends upon the individual. So that is not something that we can talk about or I can talk about for you. But anyway, you have to practice generosity. That is very important. So practice of generosity is to, the best thing to do to dispel your obstacles for your business. To dispel the obstacles for your life, like sicknesses and all these things. Your life will be long and happy, all these things. Generosity is very important to practice. And so therefore generosity, the practice of generosity really has both the principle, both the principle of the Lord Buddha's teaching. One is not harming anybody, and the other one, the other one is help others. So these two explains, generosity explains or introduces you to these two principles. There's no doubt about it. So then that's it. So this is what I was more or less talking about in Ladakis. So I was also sort of like translating this into English. And the translators up there, they're trying their best to translate into your language. And so I sincerely hope and wishes and also trust that we all will be able to practice genuine Buddhist tradition. Means not necessarily a Buddhist tradition. Just don't say Buddhist. Just say genuine spiritual practice. Spiritual practice means two things. Not harm anybody. From now, I don't want to harm anybody. From now, I want to help. That's all. I don't know whether you can successfully doing it or not, but you have to have a vow. That kind of vow will take you to all the way to the enlightenment. If there's no vow, it's like a nice car without engine. Very nice car, very expensive car, good-looking car, but no engine. Or maybe there's a broken engine. So it will not take to New Delhi. It will not take to Shanghai. It will not take to America. It will not, because the engine is not good. It will even not to take to the town also, because the engine is not good. So that's similarly that, you may be doing such a beautiful deeds, but you don't have a vow. So that's like a no engine or a broken engine. So it may not be taking you to all the way to the enlightenment. Very difficult. I wouldn't say no, but difficult, very difficult, almost no. So therefore, with vow, you have to really be beautifully practicing it. I know that you will be able to do it, because all of you, I have a trust in you, especially the Westerners and Easterners, the foreigners are very good, People who are coming from the foreign countries, I have a trust that really into these kind of practices, more than I have trust in monks and nuns. Really, because the nuns and monks sometimes, maybe I shouldn't be saying this in front of them, but luckily they're not here. So anyway, half of them are just there, listening, but not practicing it. They can't. I don't know, for some reason, they just don't practice. But the outcomer, like the foreigners, they really do it. I really trust in you in that case. They do it. Therefore, now, of course, nowadays monks are also getting better. Nuns are also getting better. I should say that, because I shouldn't be so negative on monks and nuns. But before, they're like myself anyway. I was also, as I said before, I was, till 17 years old, I was eating meat, a big meat eater. Shame on me anyway. When I think of it, it is very much the shame. But I never felt shame. So it's the same thing. The monks, they don't feel shame out of not taking it serious and not doing any practices. Doesn't matter. They don't feel shame. But the foreigners, my foreign students, they come and they listen and they do practice. They try themselves their best, which is very good. I feel very positive and very thankful to you and very appreciative. So thank you very much for listening, my gossip. And that's for today. That's all for today. And now we may dedicate this virtue for everybody. Of course, we are going to practice it. So that is really, that itself is a dedication. But not only that, you have to also dedicate, as a part of the Mahayana practice, you have to dedicate in your sort of thought, you should dedicate that all the virtues of listening teachings and all the virtues of, from my side, all the virtues I have created or I have accumulated from my side, whatever. It has to be dedicated for the longevities of all the masters, or longevities of all the great people, great practitioners, and longevities of all the animals, and happiness of all the animals, all the, like whatever. So you have to really dedicate for all sentient beings to be happy, to be liberated, and all these things. Just because of the listening to teaching, and just because of the giving teaching. And that's very important. But most importantly speaking, this has to be committed that now, from today on, I am going to practice. That is very much the dedication that you need. From today on, I'm going to practice. I'm going to change my behavior. I am going to change my negative deeds from my negative deeds to the positive deeds. So, that is the dedication. You have to really be dedicating yourself or devoting yourself into practice and into change. Not only just practicing, but really transformation. That's a very important. Thank you. Jinye suda chujun jitena tusum shekwa me senge dage malu tada thamje la lu da ngaye tang eje sambo chebe malam dage jawa thamje yige ngosum do shenge dunye lu rab de ba ye jawa kun la rab do chanzan durjitena dunye sanje na sanje sege wina shuba tedara cheje yin malu pa thamje jawa dage kanwaram tedang akwa meze jazu nama yangji la jazu dag Yawa kunji yundan rab jujin, devara shekpa tamje dagin, meto tamba chenwa tamba dan, sinyen namdan chukpa tunchud, marmi chodan dupu tamba yi, jewa teta lanin chubaran, nasa tamba namdan tuchodan, chimi pumari rab nyambat, kubi chebar papin chukungi, jewa teta lanin chubaran, chupa kanam lami jewa teta jewa tamje layam, sambo chela tepe tawdaki, jewa kunla chansa chubaran, Deja Jadan Timumangine, Ludan Ada Teshi, Diba Dagi Jeba Chinchipa, Teda Tamje Dagi Susur, Chuju Jawa Kundan Sanje Se, Ranjan Amdan Lobdan Milud, Doai Kunji Sunum Kalaya, Teda Kunji Jesu Dair, Jitin Dumana, Chanju Rimber Sanje Majan, Kumbo Teda Dagi Tamjela, Kololana Mepa Koak, Nyangenda Dungan Shedala, Doa Kunla Pension Devich, Kalba shenge dunye shubaya adage tarmo rabjar sawa changse watan chojin shabatan jesu yeran kushin sawayi gewa chongse dagi chisapa tamje zobe janju chimbara ngon debe sanje namdan chochoyi jiten dana kanshu chabar kanya majan dedan ramyuba asamzo janju rimara sanje chocho kali shinam jenye ba deda jajre yonsu tabar ju chanju shenwa chongshe gewa dan sanje sege rabdo kanwara Chuchu Simjagana Jinye Ba Teta Tato Neme Dewa Dwa Kunji Chuchu Tunamne Tumbra Chuchera Dubra Chanchu Java Taninda Jujin Dwa Kundo Jawa Tambra Churu Serap Kundo Chimbo Jawa Na Tatu Dane Ratun Jumar Yawa Kunji Jesu Lojurde Zambo Java Yonsu Zoji Chutim Java Chime Yandapa Atatu Manyam Jime Jabra Haye Kedan Ludane Jinge Tribum Tata Mi Kenam Roa Kunji Dagi Chizamba, Tamja Keto Dagi Chedun, Tishin Baru Chilla Rapton De, Janju Semne Namyan Jema, Dikpa Kanam Devara Churmata, Teda Mali also Chanwara Show, Ledan Yamo Digi Lenam Le, Trujin Jitan Roa Namsoi, Chitrapemo Chimi Chabashin, Nidan Amgartova Metraji, Shingi Chandan Chanon Chizamba, Neson Tungera Doshivar, Devata Landoa Kungujin, Roa Tamje Lane Pember. Chanchu Jeba Yonsu Zoji Simchen Dagi Chedan Tumbaranju, Sambo Jeba Tan, Raptanche, Maon Gaba Kundu Jeba, Dagi Chedan Tumbakan Jeba, Teda Tane Tatu Jeba, Ridanganam Tane Simji Jeba, Tada Malam Chitu, Dala Pembrante Pitu Vota, Sambo Jeba Raptu Tumbanam, Teda Tanya Tatu Jeba Sho, Teda Namya Yimi, Sanje Segi Kore Gombo Namang, Sum Tatu Dagi Jawat. Maon Keba Kundu Mijuwa Teta Layan Cheba Jajri Jawa Namji Tambi Chunzinji Janju Cheba Kundu Nawara Sambo Cheba Nambra Cheba Yang Maon Keba Kundu Cheba Sipa Tamche Tuyang Korwana Sunami Ishe Tane Misengi Taptan Sherava Tingzin Nam Tartan Ayunta Kunji Misen Zodo Durjik Tena Dunyi Shinam De Shindra Samje Mecheva Sanje Sanje Seje Vina Shub Ala Janju Cheba Jujin Tawara Tedra Malu Tamje Jozo Ya Ata Samchala Tusum Sanyi Sanje Jazo Shinam Jazo Dan Kalpa Jazo Jujin Ratu Sungchi La Jazo Dagungi Jawa Kuya Yala Namdam Roa Kunji Samba Chiya Sanje Sonlata Tonjubara, Jusum Shebe Jewa Tamjeta, Korle Sonam Rabdu Korwai, Tedake Soyam Mizela, Loyet of Jetajan Rabdu, Mahonga Batam Jenjuvaria, Keji Jigi Dajan Juvarati, Kayan Gaba to Sum Seteta, Keji Chashi Jene Juvarati, to Sum Sheva Mi Singika, Tedake Jila Daketa, Tatu Tedake Nejula, Jumara Juvenam Tratojen. Kayang tisum dagi shingu ba teda tu je teng do ngomran teda mali shonum tham je tu jewa dagi shinam kalai kayang ma jin ji ten ru ma nama chanju rin bar changja kolo nyangen de ba rak tu shitar ten ngombo kunji tundu da kundu nyurve jondu tu nang da kune goye tebe tu kundu yandan jebe tam nam da kundu chambar joba dagi top Chakwa me para churbe ishe to sherab tab na ting zin tab da ki chan shu tam nam yang da du para leki tam nam yang su ta je chen yomo tam nam kundu jom para du je tam nam tam me rab je chen zambo che pe tam ne jo para shin nam ja so nam pra ta je chen sen chen ja so ta ne nam pra chen nam ja so rab tu tong je chen ye she ja so rab tu to para che ba ja so nam pra ta je chen mo lam ja so yang su zo para san je ja so rab tu che je chen kal ba ja so mi jo jo para Kaya tisum shibi jewa ye chanshub chebe malam chedan Sangbo chebe chanshub sanje ne ete kun dake malu zobar Yawa kungi seki tu upa kangi mingni kundu sanshi Kepa te tang zombar chebe che gewa te ta tam che rab tuk Lidang atan yi chang nam ta chi cheba nam ta shing nam yang ta pa Owa zangbo kepa che dawa atendra ta chang te tang zombar Kuni gewa zangbo chebe che jambe che malam chebar Mahonga Bakundo Mijoa, Tedala, Mali Zobara, Cheva Tane, Sayama, Jeji, and then Namjan Sezon Mebarasho, Cheva Seme Bala, Neja, Teda, Cheva Tamje Sawar, Namgete to Jurva Jezambar, Sanjan Mali Tayo Tezam, Chisam Letan Yu Montar Juba, Dagimolam Tayo Tezam, Kayan Shojishinum Daepa, Renjen de Java Namla, Tadami Deva Chana, Shingi Dunya Keva Piva. Kanking away Jebonde Dune, Janju Choki, Jesuramish, Lenji Samji Teba Jebana, Sanam Tambi Choto Tenjur, Kangi Sanju Malam de the Bay, Tining and Sontan Japan, Tene Chopong and Bapambai, Nawataye, Tenur, Tedanya Baramye, Devarso, Mizin de Teda Leboro, Kundo Zambote, Chendrawa, Tedar and Barameto, Samen Abotaki Divanam, Kangi Mishi, Wangi Chabat. Zambo Jaban de Jena, Nutu Mali, Yonso Janwar, Yishetan is Sudan Sanam, Ridan Kato, Namdan Dembra, Dudan Motik Mambu Temito, Jitan Sumbokana Chabra, Chanju Shawa Tondo Tenurundro, Sones and Japanjer Deto, Chanju Sanje Colorado, Coro, Dunam Detan Jaba Tamjet, Kaya Zambo Jebe Malamdi, Chawatane, Tondam Lonai, T in number of members and Chanju Chola, Sonia Majek. Jambe Pao Chetra Kemba Tan Kundu Sambo Tea Tishin Teda Kunji Jesu Tam Luchin Gewan Deda Tam Jerapto Tusum Shekwe Gewa Tam Jeki Ngoa Kawa Choto Ngapat Dashin Gewe Tsawa Dikunja Sambo Chejerapto Ngawar Dani Chewe Tushi Churvana Adipa Tam Jedani Chisut Usun Nawa Daye Tatone Dewa Chenji Shendrapto Kesonene Malam Deda Cha Tam Je Malu Ngondo Jurwar Petra Malu Dani, Yonsukan, Jitin Chisi Simjan Bamaran, Dewaking Gorosan Shingawa, Terra Pemo Tamba Shindu Zele, Nawantaye, Mosumdu, London, Bayan Dagi Terdo, Tene Dagi London Rapto, Triba Mambo Chewa Trajai, Loyet of Jichojunam Sunya, Simjan Namla Pemba Mambrun, Sambo Chebe Malam Tambayi, Gewa Chonse Dagi Chisab, Tinendro Malam Gewa, Namake Jichi Tanjinjur. Kaya Sambo Japan Dingu Be Sanam Taye Tamba Kampu Chiwana Obame Be Nerabatoba Show Malam Jebo Dida Choki So Daendo Akula Pengi Kundu Sambo Jimbe Shundu Nesonena Malu Tombara Show Dokungeza Chenye Yubata Chedan Chenjuru Tishin Cheba Sambo Chujur Tendi Satala Kune Kunja Sambo Riguro Imaho Wanzar Sanje Nawa Taye Ta Yesu Cho Tuji Shimbo Yando Semba Tushla Sanje Johnson Pome Diki Wanzar Pato Me Bai Deva Chenje Chave Shingam Dashin Dene Tsembe Churma Ata Chewa Chenje Parma Cheba Tirujene Nandi Shandong Sho, Tege Dage Malam Tabat, Chuchu Sanje Chansim Tamje, Game Dubra Chenje Labdo, Deata Penzan Dea Awa Buddha Naye Soha, Emaho, Monzar Sanje Nawata Eta, Yesu Jo, Tuje Chambot, Yundo Zemba, Tujin Tamnam, Sanje Chansim Bame Kogi, Diki Monzar Patu Mebaye, Deva Chenje Chave Shingam. Dashin dine tsembe chuma ata kewa shenye parma choba Thiru jene nante shandong sho teke dake malam taban Chochu sanje chansim tamje je keme dhubara chenje labdo Teya tha anzan teya awa buddha na ye soha Ema ho ngonzar sanje nawa thaye ta yesu cho tuje chembo Yondo semba tujen tumnamala sanje chansim pamen korge Diki ngonzar padu me bayi dewa chanshi chawe shingam Dashin dine tsembi chumata chewa shinje parma choban Thiru jene nandi shandong sho teke dake malam taban Chochu sanje chansim tamje je keme dhubara chenje labdo Teya tha penzan deya awa buddha na ye soha Chodu jewa seje gong sonyi zola jira Dake tu sum gesa pa kuncho sum la choban Yewe temba pejuruji gewa sanje kunlangu Rukun sanje toljuruji geza tamji chidu Dashin gila menjuruji dimni tane chozote Serine menyam to pel chendu sanju nunjuru Namshi tsembi churma ta dewa chendu chejuruji Chene peme kachete luten tela sanje Chanchu tamne chisi tu Rendo anjen barasho Dewa chengi shingam na sanje wapa menjuruji Malam dakpe chung sa yi, shing jo dero je wa rai sho.